That is classic.
Can you people up in Albany hear me?
Gosh,
Yes?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Good.
It's a bit
All right.
derisive, your tone, though. Those people up in Albany.
I've
cold
got the
up here.
chair. Watch what you say.
My fault, my fault.
It could be a coup today.
Bring it on. Bring it on.
You with that.
Good morning. My name is
It's like we're
Cesar
concerned. Go
Perales.
for it.
And before I call this meeting to order, I will note for the record that I will serve as the acting chair for today's meeting. I now call to order the meeting of the directors of the New York State Urban Development Corporation, doing business as the Empire State Development, for Thursday, December 19, 2019. As noted on the agenda posted to the internet, we welcome public comment on the items on our agenda. To ensure maximum opportunity for participation, speakers representing themselves may speak up to 2 minutes each, and those representing groups may speak up to 4 minutes, with one speaker per group. Speakers' comments may only address the items considered at today's meeting. As always, the directors have received the written materials in advance, and they are free to ask questions at any time during the presentations. As some of you may be aware, today is Rob Dyson's last ESD meeting. And before continuing, we would like to take a moment and read to you a resolution of appreciation for all your years of service, Rob, and to also present you with a citation from the governor.
Oh, terrific.
So before anything else, let me read this resolution of appreciation. Whereas Robert R. Dyson was confirmed by the New York State Senate as a director of the New York State Urban Development Corporation on March 16, 2010, and was reappointed on June 20, 2012, and whereas Rob has served this corporation, its audit and budget and bond financing committees, and the state of New York with distinction, wisdom, and devotion, generously giving his time and benefiting the corporation with his advice and support for almost a decade. And whereas Rob's respected recommendations and wise business advice have assisted in the launch, expansion, and increased functionality of the corporation's various economic development projects and programs throughout these years of public service, now therefore be it resolved that the chairman, his fellow directors, and corporation staff desire to, and hereby do, express their appreciation on behalf of the people of the state of New York for his tireless service to the corporation, and do extend to him best wishes and continued success in all his future endeavors. Little applause here. It is my pleasure to deliver the citation from the governor.
Gee, thank you. Gosh.
Howard, anything you would like to add?
Yep. Thanks, Cesar. I have a resolution of appreciation on behalf of Empire State Development, so I just take a couple moments to read that. Whereas Robert R. Dyson was confirmed by the New York State Senate as a director of the New York State Urban Development Corporation on March 16th.
Howard,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Cesar just read that.
I read it.
Oh, okay.
Yes, maybe you
Okay.
could get a duplicate one, sorry.
All right, sorry. I thought we had different resolutions. But I'd like to say
I
a
prefer
couple
to
of
you to
things.
speak from your heart now at this point.
Okay. Okay, you're very kind. I will do that. What I want to say about Rob, because we've worked together for almost 5 years, but Rob has been extremely supportive of so much of what we have done together at ESD and since his time at ESD, and that includes some of the highest profile projects that I think we've ever undertaken, including the Moynihan Train Hall project, Brooklyn Bridge Park, literally hundreds of capital projects. his support of broadband, of course, his extraordinary support and philanthropy with respect to Walkway Over the Hudson, support for dairy farmers, his support for the many bond programs that we have been involved with, and the considerable funding that we have brought to infrastructure and capital projects, storm-related projects, and so much more. Rob has been an integral part of ESD. He brings kind of unique engagement, tremendous passion and commitment, and invaluable advice all the time. And he's been, to quote a line from one of my favorite movies, he's been the best of the best of the best. So I just want to thank Rob without reading a second similar resolution for his extraordinary support and candor. Some of my most memorable moments at ESD have been in board meetings with Rob, and I have some transcripts with me which I won't repeat, but Rob has always been willing to say exactly what's on his mind, which I've always appreciated. He brings great insight. He's quite an accomplished businessman, community person, philanthropist, and a great character. So thank you, Rob, from all of us at ESD.
Oh, great.
Maybe there's a voice coming in,
Can I-
maybe.
Anyway, when I heard
Can I add to that?
when I heard Cesar reading the citation, I think back to my father would have appreciated all of what he said, and my mother would have believed it. But anyway, I will tell you, it's been an honor. I'm really sorry that we missed on Amazon. That was one that really, but they're coming back piece by piece, which is probably just as well. I think nowadays with the current political environment, I honestly think if it had happened today, I think it would be different. I think that there was a flashpoint of a point of view that existed that I don't think exists now. I think that there's a little bit more reality. A couple areas that I think that we've got to continue to support and spend a lot of time is broadband. That's absolutely one of them. But the other thing is support for farmers. I told Andrew, Andrew had a dinner for about 8 and 9 of us when he got elected. And one of the things that I stressed to him was that that farmers, if a farm goes out of business, generally it's gone. Sometimes, in the case of Watkins Glen, the Watkins Glen area, that whole area up there, Schuyler County and down toward Elmira and over toward Ithaca, the Amish have taken over broken down farms and have made them really superb examples of farming. But the other aspect of it is that farms it's food providing. The one thing this country has never dealt with is food scarcity. And with climate change, we're gonna. And New York has the abundance of one fundamental positive asset that none of us had anything to do with, and that's water. And water makes crops grow. And that's why supporting farmers is important in that respect. Food. The second thing is employment. Farmers employ a lot of people. As mechanized as it gets, you have to have more people moving more product. And I'm not just talking dairy farms or beef farms or chickens or hop farms or whatever, but all of them. But the other thing is farms don't move out. They can't say, if you don't give me a grant, we're moving across to Pennsylvania or New Jersey or to China or anything else. And I think that we have to understand that it's providing food, which is never going to go out of business. It's providing employment, and they can't move. So we have to make sure that as we go down this route of all the development that we're doing, it's not just Amazon here or the Buffalo Billion or all the great projects that we've done to resurrect small cities and small towns throughout the state. But it's also to make sure that we take care of our farmers, because without them, we lose a key ingredient in the land use in this state. There's one other thing. Andrew Cuomo has done one fundamental thing that I think is very unsung and was abused for with this Amazon thing, and that is business. He's the most pro-business governor, I think, in our modern history, going back to the turn of the century, and that's not 2000. It's 18 to 19. He has been the most pro-business governor, I think, in our history, and I applaud him for that because it was realistic, and it was smart, and it took a lot of work, and it ran against the prevailing New York City-based political thought that we've got to take care of business. And that's one great thing that he's done. The sad thing about it is that the political power that rests in New York City has to recognize that without jobs, we don't have a tax base. And without a tax base, they ain't a whole lot of things. And Andrew has recognized that and has done a lot. And I also appreciate all of what we've been doing. I mean, it's been a great experience because I was here. I was appointed under just before Elliot Spitzer talked to me about it. Bob Wilmers and Patterson put me in it, and then Andrew. And I will tell you that the change that took place, and I think that David Patterson had a major base that he created for Andrew to be able to do a whole lot of things. That had he come in with somebody that was not quite as unconventional as David was, or as insightful, that he wouldn't have been able to do quite as much so quickly. But I will tell you that it's been an honor to see us evolving into such a great engine for economic growth. But the other thing is the economic development, all these regional economic development groups that we have created. You couldn't fund that and create the entrepreneurial spirit if the state did it. What they did is it's all volunteer help. It's just absolutely amazing. The thing that we've got to make sure moving forward, however, and Eric, you've got to keep an eye on this, that they don't become infested with political hacks that are only interested in their specific area. That it's got to be that they are looking at real important business expansions, not being able to cut a ribbon at some make-work project or some thing that takes care of their donor base. That's the one thing we've got to make sure. The other thing is that I think that the bottom line is that we have to continue to keep the integrity level up. The great thing about what happened, unfortunately, with the whole Albany issue and Joe Percoco and the other people that were involved, is it never rained on us. There were charges, but nothing was ever done. This group has integrity that is vital. If we lose that, we lose all the ability to do what we do with the credibility that we have. So I just want to tell you, it's been a great experience. I'm available if anybody wants to call me. You want me to sit in on a meeting? I'm absolutely available. Eric, I look forward to interacting with you as necessary if you want. But I just want to tell you, it's been an honor and a privilege to serve the citizens of the state of New York. And thanks for the citation. I don't know how I'm going to get it on the train. We'll have to figure that out. Debbie, you want to help me out on that? Okay, good. But I just want to tell you, it's been an honor. It's been an honor, privilege to serve with you, Howard, and everybody, all the directors. There have been a series of directors. I've seen several come and go. But I think that it's been an honor, and I just look forward to seeing what's up in the final meeting, and then I look forward to, as the progress flows. I do have one request, however. Those daily and sometimes hourly updates, news updates that I have been privileged to get as a director, I would really like to continue to receive them. It's a great news source. And all it is just keep my name on the list to get the information, because it's an important source of information for me, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Rob.
So thanks.
Thank you. I think we've just heard why your voice will be missed. You've always got something very instructive and very important to say.
Well, I'm not too far away, so don't hesitate to call.
All right. With that, I will ask the directors whether anyone has any potential conflict of interest with respect to any of the items on the agenda. If so, I will ask you to please make an appropriate disclosure on the record at this time, and we will then remind you to recuse yourself from any discussion or vote with regard to such items. All right, let's move to the first item on today's agenda. It's the approval of the minutes of minutes of the November 21, 2019 Directors Meeting. Is there a motion?
Move.
A second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion is approved. Are there any questions, comments, additions, or deletions? And I guess there aren't any since you've already approved it. All right. These are excellent notes. They even presume what's going to happen.
Keep digging.
Keep digging. All right, here I go. I will ask Glendon McCleary to present the summary of those projects. Glenn?
We do the president's report first.
Oops. Forgot.
We'll now move to the report section of the agenda, and I will ask Eric to start things off with his president's report. Eric?
Great. Thank you, Cesar. First of all, everyone, good morning. I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person for one particular reason. First of all, I want to also add to the wonderful comments about Rob Dyson, and just to thank you personally as well for all your passion, your energy, your great insights as we just saw. And I will tell you that by virtue of when I joined the board, I got to sit next to Rob for the first year plus. And like he did today, he would turn to me after every vote and say, "You need to speak up." And you know, that is what he did today with the passion that he's always had. And I appreciate your dedication to this organization. Rob, we still need to schedule our breakfast or lunch, so it may not be in New York City now. It can be, but that's still on the agenda, and I welcome your continued involvement. And if there's anything that I've learned in 3.5 months is that you know, you don't really get to leave the orbit of the governor. So in some way, shape, or form, you will still and always will be involved in, and we couldn't be happier about that and having your insights. So from my perspective, I want to add to everybody else and thank you for all you've done. So much appreciated. Thank you. And so as you know, today we're up you know, in Albany. The high today will you know, get to maybe 15 degrees. That wouldn't be so bad if it was as I was growing up in Montreal in Celsius, because that would be sort of a balmy 60 something degrees, but that's not the case. So we've got sort of a quite a cool day up here. And we're up here with Howard, with Kevin, with Rich for the REDC, the annual REDC Awards. It will be my first awards. It's the 9th awards under the governor. And we are looking forward to announcing all the transformative winning development projects, and we will do that right after this board meeting. And so let me just fill you in on a lot of exciting stuff that's been going on over the last month. First thing about our employees, it always starts with our employees and the amazing hard work they do. And it is my pleasure to be able to announce, well, we've already announced, but just to reiterate some of the amazing promotions that we've done. And I want to congratulate Goldie Wexel, who will be promoted to Senior Managing Attorney in the Legal Department. I want to congratulate Kevin Hansen, who will be promoted to Senior Vice President and Head of Public Policy. I want to congratulate Edmund Lee from Economic Incentives, who will be promoted to Senior Vice President and Director of Economic Incentives. I want to congratulate Glenn McCleary, who will be promoted to Vice President and Director of Loans and Grants. And I want to congratulate Allison Bates, who will be promoted to Vice President of Policy and Operations. And these are all really well-deserved promotions to very highly committed ESD employees. So it's wonderful to be able to, to do that. And on the flip side, I want to acknowledge and thank Benson Martin, who's been our dedicated Director of Legal Compliance, who is leaving us after 5 years, who's done such great work, and we appreciate it, and we wish you good luck at the Department of Financial Services as their special counsel. So thank you. And then lastly, I also just want to wish everybody, given that this is at the end of the year, happy holidays. We had some really nice holiday parties, both in New York and in Albany. And it was great to see the employees come together. I want to thank Ed Hamilton for his hard work on that. And just, again, wish everybody happy holidays. And as I said on the holiday, at both of the parties, much appreciation to everyone for helping me transition through the last 3.5 months and, directing me to events that I had no clue and helping to answer questions that have probably been asked multiple times over the many years. So I do appreciate that. So some of the events and programs that we've launched over the last month. Earlier this month, it's not every day you get to put your signature on a piece of history. But earlier this month, we announced the Javits Center expansion. There was a steel beam on it. The governor, we all had to make sure that his signature was like John Hancock, bigger than everybody else's signature. But that was a fun event to see the governor announce the 1.2 million square foot expansion of Javits, which will be done in March 2021. And already we are signing up business for that facility in May 2021 on certain conventions that we otherwise would have not received had it not been for that expansion. So that's terrific news. Here in Albany, we cut the ribbon on the Nick, which is a refurbished building that's converting from the former home of the Knickerbocker News into 130 apartments. And the occupancy rate is also already approaching 75%. I also learned, and we may need to look at their insurance in the basement, in the lobby of that building. Apparently, there's a hatchet throwing area. So I'm serious. So I learned about that yesterday. So I trust that the owner has really good insurance on that. And
Hatchet throwing and brew pub.
yes, exactly. And brew pub, just in case.
Helmet option.
Yeah, this skill level gets tested as you frequent the brew pub more often.
You haven't been to enough,
And then,
Eric, you haven't been to enough public hearings yet. Pretty soon you'll see other hatchet throwing exhibitions.
yeah, Howard has gotten me some protective gear for the holidays as a gift. So. And then also, earlier this month, the governor announced a new strategic partnership between the Northland Workforce Training Center on Buffalo's east side and the SUNY Empire State College. And, that continues to be Just a terrific center whose primary focus is on training individuals for careers in advanced manufacturing and the energy sectors. And it's really a project that we as an organization should also be proud of. And then just a few other highlights. The READY program, the Lake Ontario Business Resiliency Program, which we've been working on for many months. Howard started as the co-chair, and then I transitioned into that role when he was enjoying Buffalo during the summer and in the fall. So that's been an important program of ensuring that these businesses have a resiliency to maintain their business, if and when the next storm occurs. We've also in Central New York announced the selection of 4 finalists in the 2019 Genius New York Business Accelerator Competition. And these startups in drones and Internet of Things will be important industries of tomorrow. I also want to thank Kevin Eunice and Kevin Hansen for their great work, tireless work over many years in officially launching yesterday New York Creates. So, Rob, you mentioned, some of the work from SUNY. So this has been, really hard-fought battle, lots of work, and having seen Kevin over the last number of months take their work seriously, not taking themselves seriously, and getting through this. Much appreciation for great work on getting through that. And then in New York City, the Lieutenant Governor helped ESD break ground on a downtown Jamaica co-working facility. So that'll be a 12,000 square foot facility provided by a $1.6 million grant. And then in the Finger Lakes District, ESD announced the global flow control and instrumentation company, Rotork, which is growing operations in Monroe County, creating 60 new jobs. And that also is, just one example of the many ways that we, as an organization, help to create jobs all around the state. And then lastly, the State of the State will happen in early January through the great work of so many employees. There'll be a number of ESD proposals as part of that State of the State. I think that'll mean exciting work for our organization next year. So thank you for everybody that had a part in that. And I'll just end by again wishing everybody a happy holidays. And Rob, thank you again for your committed service over many years. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Good report.
Yeah, that was impressive.
A lot of good things that's happening.
Yeah, thank you. Now, before we proceed to our project items, I will ask Glendon McCleary to present a summary of the projects. Glenn?
Thank you, and good morning. The directors will be requested to consider 11 projects totaling $12,600,037 in grants. And the loan project include 2 Buffalo Billion Awards, 8 Regional Council Awards, and 3 discretionary awards. The project will take place in Western New York, Central New York, Long Island, Finger Lakes, and the Capital Regions, leverage over $111 million of additional investment, retain 25 jobs, and create an additional 12 jobs in the state. Thank you.
Okay. Let's move to the project section of the agenda, and Amanda Mays will start things off today with 3 projects from the Western New York region. Amanda?
Good morning. The directors are first requested to approve a grant of up to $748,000 from the Buffalo Regional Innovation Center, Buffalo Billion 2, to Torrance Space Theater for a portion of the construction and renovation costs associated with the nearly $1.2 million project at the theater located in the Broadway Fillmore District on the City of Buffalo's east side. This project is part of the governor's $50 million East Side Corridor Economic Development Fund, an initiative designed to spark revitalization on Buffalo's east side. ESD funding will support the expansion and restoration project that had been conducted in phases and included the renovation of a former gas station building, and through ESD's assistance will complete the entirety of the planned renovation and expansion work. The project will include interior and exterior work that will result in an expansion and upgrade of performance space, connect performance space with outside green space and exterior access improvements. These renovation efforts will improve the quality of programming, increase audience engagement and retention, and continue to increase the theater's national reputation as a leader in contemporary performance. The theater embraces its location on the east side and aims to increase the accessibility of arts and culture by providing free and low-cost opportunities to see live theater, music, and art. The project promotes smart growth and revitalization of its east side neighborhood, and ESD's funding will allow for increased programming and thus visitation. The second project is Buffalo Freight House Capital. The directors are requested to approve a $750,000 loan from the Buffalo Regional Innovation Cluster Better Buffalo Fund program to Buffalo Freight House LLC to help offset the cost of a $10.5 million historic renovation and conversion project of the former New York Central Railroad Freight House building located on Buffalo's west side. The project was awarded transit-oriented development funding through Round 2 of the Better Buffalo Fund, a $40 million initiative through Buffalo Billion 1 and 2. Financing through ESD for TOD projects assists with gap financing for adaptive reuse or infill capital projects, promoting dense development within a quarter-mile walking distance of transit stops. This project has created 35 loft-style 1, 2, and 3-bedroom apartments and 3,000 square feet of retail space in the 37,000 square foot formerly vacant building. Commercial space is already leased and pre-leasing of apartments is underway. The project promotes smart growth and will help to increase urban density and economic viability important to the city's revitalizing Black Rock neighborhood. This development will increase the number of residential units and quality commercial space in the area, and most importantly will serve as a catalyst and a model for other developments in that neighborhood. And our third project is Jamestown Brewery Downtown Revitalization Capital. The directors are requested to approve a grant of $830,000 from the Downtown Revitalization Initiative to G. Patty Enterprises, LLC, for a portion of construction and renovation costs associated with a $4.2 million project that has turned a largely vacant 32,000 square foot former department store into a new brewery and restaurant in downtown Jamestown. The city of Jamestown was selected as Western New York's Round 1 DRI winner, and through its strategic planning process, identified this property as key for redevelopment. It sits across the street from the new National Comedy Center and adjacent to many of the other transformational projects that have been completed or are under construction in Jamestown. The project has resulted in the establishment of a new restaurant, brewery, and event space that was completed in spring 2019. As a result of the process, a derelict eyesore was replaced with a vibrant space, and that will entice visitors to the National Comedy Center to extend their stay in Jamestown. It has also created 35 new jobs. And I can take any questions.
Are there any questions or comments from the directors with regards to these items? Are there any comments from the public? If not, I will entertain a motion for approval of all three items.
I move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Now we have two projects from our central New York region, which will be presented by Jim Fail. Jim?
Good morning. The first project I'm presenting today is a $550,000 grant to Apples Acres LLC. This is a $8.7 million project. This allows this company to expand and construct and equip a 65,000 square foot apple packing house and cool storage facility down in Lafayette, which is about 15 miles south of Syracuse and is the heart of our apple country. This will allow the company to expand its exporting throughout the nation, as well as going into other countries. The project will create 12 jobs. It was a Round 7 priority project of the Regional Council, and the project was completed in October of this year. The second project is a $1 million grant to the city of Oneida, and this was an infrastructure grant which allowed the city to extend its water and sewer line to a 420-acre industrial zoned park in the city of Oneida. As a result of this investment, the city was able to entice a company, Green Acre Empire Farms, to construct a year-round greenhouse, which currently is growing tomatoes. The phase one of the project creates 120 people, and they are in the process of extending this greenhouse infrastructure to phase two, which will then create another 120 people. The project was a round two priority project at the Regional Council, and it was completed in November of this year. And I will take any questions.
Are there any questions or comments with regard to these items? Are there any comments from the public with regard to these items? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve both items.
Move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing no opposition, I'll assume the motion is carried. Barry Greenspan will now present a project from the Long Island region. Barry, whenever you're ready.
Yes, good morning, directors. For your consideration this morning is a $500,000 ESD grant for a completed Round 6 priority project that created Long Island's only consumer behavior market research laboratory at Hofstra University's Zarb School of Business. The 1,600 square foot facility will train undergraduate and graduate students in the field of market research and consumer behavior. It simulates actual retail space where researchers, both academics and students, as well as businesses, can study in real time the effects of various stimuli to better understand how consumers make buying decisions. Hofstra University's Zarb School of Business is Long Island's top business school, and the laboratory is in the recently completed School of Business building, which also houses incubator space called an Idea Lab, where students can interact, start new technology companies, and basically can be immersed in entrepreneurship. The Idea Lab and the Consumer Behavior Research Laboratory being located in this building allows students and businesses to test business concepts and learn how actual consumers might react to their products. There's also important synergies in this new laboratory with Hofstra University's entrepreneurship program funded by EAP, or the EAP program, which has been funded by ESD for 2 decades now. So new fledgling businesses have access to both the Idea Lab as well as this new consumer behavior laboratory to help spur new businesses. This project aligns well with our regional strategies to support innovation and entrepreneurship, and also to support our top education institutions in preparing students that are ready to meet global demand for top-tier business students. The 1,600 square foot lab is completed, it's operational, and the total cost was $2.5 million. For your consideration today, this grant is ready to be dispersed, and we are requesting your approval. I'll take any questions if you have them.
Any questions or comments from the directors with regard to these items? Are there any comments from the public with regard to this item?
Okay, pal.
If not,
I can't vote at all.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Look at that. What a team. All those in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
He's a rookie, you know. He'll learn. He'll learn.
Hearing no opposition, the item is approved.
Trying my best here, guys.
Mike Yavoli will now present 2 items from the Capital Region. Mike?
Good morning. And the first item that I'll be asking the directors to approve is 2 grants totaling $5 million, which includes $3 million of URI, and I'm sorry, $2 million of URI and $3 million of CFA funding for a project to support the Kenmore Transformation Capital. It's 425,000 square feet of renovated buildings, a total of 8 buildings in downtown Albany. And as the project advances, it will include 291 apartments, 12 commercial spaces, and 276 parking spaces. The project is in 2 phases, so we'll be doing 2 disbursements. Phase 1 is complete, which includes the project Eric mentioned earlier, the Nick Apartments, which is 132 apartments, and the Yard, yes, it is the Yard Hatchet House and Bar. So you can throw axes and get a beer right in downtown Albany. Also, 55 Columbia Street will open this week. That's going to be the Albany Kitchen, which will be a test kitchen where various vendors will be able to rent space, shared space. The same individual did one in Troy, and they've already populated 4 storefronts in Troy from those restaurants that have incubated out of that kitchen. So we're hoping for the same success here. And the largest garage that is associated with the project has also been completed, the Cap Rep Garage. The second phase will involve another $53 million worth of funding, and it will involve the remaining buildings, including the Cap Rep Theater, 39 Columbia Street, and another smaller garage, the Kennedy Garage, and the Steuben Building and Kenmore Hotel. So overall, 8 buildings will be fully renovated into 425,000 square feet of new space that will be, this was all primarily vacant up until this point. So it's a pretty big transformation in downtown Albany. I think it's the largest renovation project in the last 20 years in downtown Albany. It's within the Clinton Square DRI zone, and we're ready to disperse phase 1. So I'm asking the board for approval on this. The second phases will be completed in September 2020. Once that spending and the COs for those projects have been achieved, we'll be able to disperse those funds. Any questions?
Well, an interesting combination of beer and throwing hatchets.
Yes, I guess
have a
darts doesn't do it
question.
for people anymore.
Yeah. All right.
Cesar, I have a question.
Cesar, Hilda has a question.
Yes, Hilda.
I'm right here.
Yes, I see you.
Yes, the apartments, are they market rate or a combination of affordable and market rate?
All of the apartments at this time are market rate. The company has a very unique structure. They utilize a proprietary combined heat system, so they include most of the utility cost at a much reduced rate than your average apartment. So inclusive in the rent is parking, electricity, heat, air conditioning, water. They have their own proprietary internet. So they do get a good value, but it is market rate. Market rate in downtown Albany in many cases could be supported by some subsidy program. So these are not exclusive apartments, and I would dare say they're very much designed for the young professional, especially in the state workforce. We have a lot of people who transition in and out of Albany for shorter periods of times, and this is the type of unit that I think would be very amenable to them. As Eric mentioned, they're over 75%, and I actually have talked to quite a few people who have begun renting there. So they're definitely market rate, but I would not say that they are high end.
Thank you.
Mike, did you just do one item, or is there a second item?
No, I have a second item. I'm ready to go on that.
Yeah, why don't you do the second item, and then I'll ask for comments.
Excellent. The second item is the New York State Mesonet Laboratories Capital. We'll be asking the board to approve 2 grants of up to $1,272,000. It was a round 5 and 6 regional council priority project. The total spending is $6.3 million. The other funding sources for that was from FEMA and the New York State Department of Homeland Security and Emergency Services. The Mesonet is an advanced statewide weather system network that provides unprecedented weather information from across the state. The network is the first of its kind in New York. There's 126 weather stations, and if you go to the labs, it's pretty interesting to see. They're everywhere from the high peaks of the Adirondacks to buildings in Manhattan to the tip of Long Island to the shores of Lake Erie. So the entire state is covered by these stations. Specifically, ESD supported projects at the University of Albany campus for 2 laboratories. The Excite laboratory is where the data comes in and is able to be commercialized. It's also being able to be used by state agencies in weather prediction. The second component of it was the calibration lab. That is where the equipment comes in and is serviced. Of course, the equipment needs to be serviced periodically, and it's quite an advanced system to make sure that the weather data is coming in appropriately and that we have a all the systems are working appropriately. So that was our involvement in the project was for the 2 labs. We did not fund the weather stations. That's part of the match. And that project is complete. It's actually being used by some commercial vendors now. True Weather Solutions is using it, which provides weather data to a variety of private companies, as well as New York State, Homeland Security and other folks are using the data. So project is complete, and I think we are ready to advance that for payment.
Okay. Are there any questions or comments on both of these items? I'm asking the directors. Hearing none, I'll ask for comments from the public. I will entertain a motion for approval of both items.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing no opposition, the motion is carried. I'll now move to Vinny Esposito, who's going to present 2 items from the Finger Lakes region. Vinny?
Good morning, directors. I hope you can hear me okay. I'm in transit on the way to Albany for the RDC Awards. If I drop off, Lisa Smith from my office will complete. But we have 2 projects. The first, you're being asked to approve a $500,000 capital grant for 1 Alexander Street, LLC, from the Regional Council Capital Funds. This was a priority project in RADC Round 7. This grant will support the construction of a 4-story mixed-use building on a former vacant site where the Genesee Hospital used to be in downtown Rochester. ESD's funding is specifically for the first floor, 16,000 square foot commercial space now occupied by Mindex Technologies, a growing software company that was able to move its 200 employees from the suburbs into the city and will be creating 10 full-time jobs. This project cost $5.2 million in total and was completed in November of 2019. The second project you're being asked to approve is a $650,000 capital grant to Castle Street Redevelopment LLC from the Downtown Revitalization Initiative. This is from our DRI winner Round 1, the City of Geneva. This grant supports the renovation and rehab of a 2-story vacant mixed-use building into a space within Geneva's historic commercial district. This project includes both interior and exterior renovations, addressing the pervasive blight in this district and fostering connectivity between downtown Geneva and its lakefront, which was a cornerstone of their DRI strategy. This project further advances the ongoing revitalization of downtown Geneva's business district and is particularly impactful to the community as the building is adjacent to Route 5 and 20, which is the main thoroughfare that adjacent to Castle Street. This project included first floor commercial space and upper floor residential space. It cost $1.7 million and was completed in September. I'd be happy to take any questions about either project.
Are there any questions or comments from the directors with regard to these items presented by Vinny Esposito?
Who was the developer?
Vinny,
For which one, Elda? So for Alexander Street, it's Buckingham Properties. This is the part of the master plan of the former Genesee Hospital site.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions or comments from the directors? Are there any comments from the public? If not, I will entertain a motion for approval of both items.
Also move. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing no opposition, the motion is carried. Mark Reynolds will now present an item from the Mohawk Valley region. Mark?
Good morning, chairs and directors. This request is for the board to affirm its determination and findings from the November 21st, 2019 board meeting in relation to a $500 million capital grant to Cree Semiconductor Corporation for their $1 billion semiconductor fab they're about to build in Marcy, New York. A public hearing was held at SUNY Polytechnic on December 11th, where 2 individuals spoke. One was a representative of the company who supported the project effusively, And the second was a representative of Assemblywoman Marion Buttonshone's office. This speaker expressed the Assemblywoman's support for the project, but stated that there were constituents in her region who were concerned about flooding in the Mohawk Valley and a planned change to the Interstate 90 Utica Thruway interchange. While neither comment was directly critical of the project, we felt these concerns raised required that the project be brought back for affirmation. In particular, the speaker stated that she wanted to make sure that everyone involved in the project was aware that potential flooding concerns are ongoing in the area. We feel that while Oneida County did experience recent flooding, such flooding was not in the area where the facility is being constructed, and the facility is being constructed in compliance with all state DEC and federal U.S. Corps of Engineers stormwater management requirements, and all permits are in place. As regards the thruway interchange, it has to do with tandem truck interfacing with exiting vehicles. It has nothing to do with this project. We felt that those comments were independent of this project. So the request is to affirm the previous motion.
So moved.
Second.
Liz, I want to make sure that I recuse myself. I think SUNY is involved in this CREE project. Is that correct? Is SUNY involved?
Yeah, it is. It's on SUNY property.
That's what I thought. All right, I am recusing myself. At any rate, are there any comments on the project, regarding the project, from the directors, from the public? If not, I will entertain a motion.
Move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved. Thank you. That motion carried. And now I'm going to turn to Simone Bethune, who will present a Restore New York Communities item for our consideration. Simone?
Thank you. We are seeking director's approval for an $800,000 Round 5 Restore New York award to the town of Schodack in the Capital Region for demolition of 4 vacant and abandoned structures which formerly served as a motel, and reconstruction of 1 structure to create new headquarters for A. Servidone Incorporated, a construction company. The newly renovated space will house the company's engineering, management, and accounting staff, while also allowing it to accommodate existing and future staffing needs. In addition, Restore New York funds will further the town's ongoing strategy to support business growth. The project was complete in September 2019 at a cost of approximately $2.8 million. And I can take any questions.
Are there any questions of Simone regarding this item? Are there any questions from the public with regard to this item? If not, I will entertain a motion.
Move. Second.
All those in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Are those
Aye.
opposed?
Aye.
Hearing no opposition, the motion is carried. Rebecca Miller will now present a New York State Electric Generation Facility Cessation and Mitigation Program item for our consideration. Rebecca?
Good morning, everyone. The directors are being asked to approve a grant for approximately $1.4 million from the Electric Generation Facility Cessation Mitigation Program for the Kenmore, Town of Tonawanda Union Free School District. This grant will offset the reduction of payments and property taxes to this entity from the Huntley Power due to the closure of this electric generation facility. This is the 4th program year for this school district, and the grant represents 50% of the property tax loss. Approval of this grant will bring total disbursements from the fund to $27.5 million. I'd be happy to take any questions.
Are there any questions of Rebecca Miller by the directors? Or
I
by
think folks don't know that this was a nominee for the 2019 Most Syllables in a Government Program Award, coming in at 24 syllables. We're pretty proud. So
Did it not win?
No, it didn't. It didn't. And I
I'll
don't
try
want to talk
again
about it
next
anymore.
With that, I will entertain a motion.
Move.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Anybody opposed? Nobody is opposed to the project. The motion carries. Up next, we will have a New York State Innovation Venture Capital Fund item, which will be presented by Clayton Besh.
Thank you. We would like to ask the board for authorization for the New York State Innovation Venture Capital Fund to make a follow-on investment of up to $450,000, excuse me, in Yes Technologies' current convertible note for $3 million, bridging to their upcoming Series A round. Yes Technologies, formerly known as Mouse Sensor, is a women-led New York City-based biotechnology company that is developing a nose-on-a-chip technology to detect, discover, and digitize scents. The company is using nanotechnology approach to adhere human odor receptors, chemical receptors in our nose, onto a silicon chip in order to create a standard scent database. This technology will have broad implications in a number of industries, including healthcare, flavor and fragrance, and nutrition. In the healthcare sector, recent evidence suggests that certain diseases can be detected by the unique odor profile emitted by the afflicted patients. As a result, Yes's technology can be used to diagnose for early detection a myriad of diseases, including Parkinson's disease and cancer. The fund's first investment of $500,000 in Yes's seed round in July of 2018 is followed now by this convertible note. Alexandria Venture Investments and IMEC Expand and the other current investors are also co-investing in this convertible note, along with New York State Innovation Venture Capital Fund. Are there any questions?
Are there any questions or comments from the directors? From the public?
It's amazing you can get this done.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Really interesting
Oh,
technology.
somebody moved it, all right?
Move it, yeah. We moved it and
We
approved
moved
it.
it,
Thank you.
and I'm about to ask you whether or not you're in favor of it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those
Aye.
opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
I'm now up to
Bronx Psychiatric Center.
Sue Kang is up next, and she will present an item related to the Bronx Psychiatric Center Land Use Improvement Project. Sue, go ahead.
Good morning. The directors are requested to accept and approve the final environmental impact statement, or FEIS, for the Bronx Psychiatric Center Land Use Improvement Project as complete with respect to its scope, content, and adequacy, and to authorize its publication, filing, and circulation in accordance with applicable law. The project involves the disposition and redevelopment of an approximately 33-acre portion of the Bronx Psychiatric Center campus located in the Morris Park section of the Bronx. ESD issued a request for proposals in November 2013, seeking proposals for the purchase and redevelopment of the site, and after reviewing all responses, Simone Development Companies was conditionally designated. The project will create nearly 2 million square feet of development for medical offices, college trade school, accessory residential use, retail, and hotel. On August 15, 2019, the directors authorized the adoption of a proposed general project plan, or GPP, accepted the draft environmental impact statement, or DEIS, and authorized the holding of a public hearing on the DEIS under the State Environmental Quality Review Act, or SEQRA. Pursuant to these authorizations, the DEIS was appropriately filed and publicly distributed, and a public hearing was held on September 16th, for which a comment period was held until October 16th. We did not receive any comments regarding the DEIS, but did receive some comments regarding the GPP, which are summarized and responded to in Chapter 27 of the FEIS provided with the materials. The FEIS has been finalized in conformity with SEQRA and its implementing regulations. It describes the project and its goals, assesses probable impacts of the project, identifies practical measures to mitigate significant adverse impacts, evaluates alternatives, and responds to public comments. SECR requires ESD in its capacity as lead agency for the project's environmental review to file and publicly distribute the FEIS and to afford the public an opportunity of not less than 10 days to consider the document before issuing a written finding statement and making a determination as to whether to approve the project. In approving the FEIS, the directors are not being asked at this time to approve the proposed project, but are being asked to determine that the FEIS is complete, adequately assesses the environmental impacts of the project, and otherwise meets the requirements of SECRA and is in proper form for distribution to the public. It's anticipated that at next month's directors' meeting, the public comments we received on the GPP and the responses will be presented, and the directors will be requested to adopt SECRA findings, affirm the GPP, and take all others actions necessary to effectuate the project. Thank you.
So so we understand, what is it that we are doing today?
Approving the FEIS.
All right. Are there any questions or comments from the directors? Are there any comments from the public? If not, I will entertain a motion for approval.
Move it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Thank you, sir. Now I'd like to turn things over to Kevin Eunice, who will provide the summary of the administrative actions on today's agenda. Kevin?
Good morning, directors. Thank you. I have 3 administrative items for your consideration. The first is a request for authorization to extend a contract with Nixon Peabody for legal services related to the New York Ventures program. The proposed extension is for 1 additional year and not to exceed $300,000. The second is a request for authorization to amend the contract with AKRF Inc. To continue to provide environmental consulting services in connection with the Belmont Park redevelopment project. The proposed amendment would extend the contract through December 2021 from the current expiration of September 2020 and increase the contract amount to an not exceed amount by $1.6 million from $3.25 to $4.85 million. The final item is a request for approval for a 3-year contract with E+ for renewal of support and maintenance of Radware for $296,000. Radware is a component of ESD's cybersecurity infrastructure. Thank you, and we're available for any questions.
Are there any questions?
Was there an RFP?
What's that? Go ahead.
Was there an RFP?
There was not an RFP for Radware, I'm sorry, for E+, as I understand. Radware is the only service authorized by the Office of OITS, and E+ is the only authorized service provider. So we're.
How about Nixon?
I think in its original, they were all competitively bid, but the extensions
We're
are
just
not. Yeah, some extensions.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions of Kevin on these items?
Different Nixon, by the way.
What do you say?
A different
Nixon.
In light of the actions yesterday, I thought I'd point that out.
It's time of.
I assume that's the last comment from our directors? Any comments from the public? Hearing none.
Move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all right. Any opposed? None. Motion carries. And I'm now about to call for a motion to adjourn, but before I do that, I'd like to take the opportunity.
No, we have Belmont Park.
Where?
Belmont Park.
Where's it?
Oh, Belmont Park.
I did it?
Right. There was a Belmont Park.
It was one of the administrative
There
actions.
was a Belmont Park.
actions, wasn't
Right.
Yeah, there was a contract extension.
Yeah.
Yes.
For environmental
Is
services.
that it?
That's it.
What? Oh, we did that, okay, but that it? Good.
Kevin did all 3. Did you not, Kevin?
I did.
Okay, good, thanks.
Absolutely.
Thanks, good.
Get it.
All right, let me extend to all of you and your families warm wishes for the holidays and the upcoming year. There being no further business, may I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I move.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nobody's opposed.
Thank you,
Meeting is
everybody.
adjourned.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Salute you.
Thank you.